Hey everybody, welcome back to the Top 10 podcast and Top 10 Countdown Show. Bringing you live from Sweet Al's basement today. We are bringing you a brand new show. Today we got several topics that we're going to talk about and an all-new Top 10 list that we're going to break down. Today our list is going to be the Top 10 records that will never be broken, that we think will never be broken. So let's jump on into the show today. So our first topic we're going to talk about today is, can Shedeur Sanders win the starting job in Cleveland? What do you think, Pops?
Cleveland has a shit bowl of quarterbacks. Is Shedeur as good as any of them? Probably. Here's the thing about Shedeur, okay? So he plays for his dad in high school. He plays for his dad in college. He has an unbelievable 75% completion rate. But did he take a lot of sacks because he held onto the ball too long? Cure him of it. You got coaches that can cure him of that.
Well, my big thing is I even watched a kind of like a little bit of a breakdown of this on the facility the one day, and I think it was it might have been, it was either James Jones or Chase Daniels that broke it down, and they showed, so if you're a quarterback and you get drafted, say you're in the because they got Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett there, those guys are going to get their reps, and then they drafted Dylan Gabriel out of Oregon. He's going to get his reps, and then it's going to be Shedeur. So basically, like, say that they run a play 8 times. Well, the first quarterback's going to get 3 of those plays. And then the next quarterback's going to get 2 of those plays. And then maybe, Dylan Gabriel will get 2 and Shedeur might be lucky to eke 1 out. Is there going to be enough time there? Now, I know that Kevin Stefanski also said that for some reason they're going to let every quarterback take equal reps, which I don't think that's ever happened before ever in the history of the NFL, where you have 4 quarterbacks taking equal reps.
I'm not surprised they go that way. They go out, they sign a quarterback, an experienced quarterback. They go out, they trade for a semi-experienced quarterback.
Yeah, but
they go to the draft, they draft a quarterback. In the same draft, they draft another quarterback. They don't have a clue who number 1 is.
But why would you? I don't understand. If you didn't bring Kenny Pickett in to be your number 1, what did you give up a 5th-round pick for him for?
It's a 5th-round pick.
Yeah, but are you just hoping that Kenny Pickett's the guy you throw a dart at and you're just like, oh, look at that?
Wasn't Shedeur a 5th-round pick?
Well, that's what I mean. It's kind of like, technically, if you look at it, like, I know that, so they say that Kenny Pickett still has a 1st-round grade on him just because I think it's his 3rd or his 4th year or whatever. Yeah. They're saying that, but if you were to look right now, I mean, if Kenny Pickett and Dylan Gabriel and you had to pick to start a franchise around one of them, I think most people have saw enough of Kenny Pickett where they would take the gamble on Dylan Gabriel, and it's almost like, I almost feel like Kenny Pickett should be at the bottom of that list. I feel like, I also think, you also know my feelings, I think they should cut Joe Flacco. They're talking about carrying 4 quarterbacks. I don't know how you do that with such a small roster, and you have to
put one on the practice squad.
But so, interesting thing though is who you put on the practice squad, because you don't want to put Shedeur and you don't want to put Dylan Gabriel, because
$10 says it's Gabriel.
But then you waste a 3rd-round pick and anyone can grab him. So now you waste a 3rd-round pick, and now someone, say New England or whatever, wants to grab them and keep them, bring them up to the active squad. They can. So that's what I mean. It's like I don't get it. I think Shedeur can win it. I think it should be between Shedeur and Dylan Gabriel. You know what Joe Flacco is at this age. He tried last year with Indy, and he wasn't. I don't know.
He was good. Indy just sucks.
Well, I don't know. But then, I mean, is Cleveland's roster much better?
No.
So I don't think a 41-year-old Joe Flacco is going to be the answer. I think you've seen enough out of Kenny Pickett. I mean, Kenny Pickett didn't even look good on fucking Philly. And Philly's got a roster for you. They got everything you need there.
Every once in a while, a quarterback gets way overrated.
Well, I think
we've seen it.
I think Pickett,
Will Levis. Look at Will Levis. He was going to be the savior.
Well, I think Kenny Pickett got picked though because he's from Pittsburgh. The Steelers needed a quarterback, and there
wasn't much in the draft.
Yeah, and they always said, well, Mike Tomlin never takes a quarterback in the 1st round, so he went out and he got the Pittsburgh boy. But for me, I don't know. I don't get it. I tend to think that it should be between Dylan Gabriel and Sanders, and
it might come down to that.
But the problem is that when do you cut Flacco? Because you can't keep giving Flacco 1st-team reps all offseason and then 3 weeks before the season cut Flacco and be like, okay, Gabriel and Sanders, hopefully you guys have learned enough with your 20 reps you've got throughout practice.
But the key is, did they learn enough from Joe Flacco? Joe might
Well,
Joe's a good guy. He's a good guy, and he might just he does know his spot in the league, and he knows from what he's taking for pay cuts.
yeah, but this is going to be
year after year.
This might be his last chance to make that money. If he gets cut before the year starts, he might only end up with.
It depends what his quarter is.
I think that he has a guaranteed. I think he's got a guaranteed of $4 million, which I know to people.
Oh,
to
here's
people
$4 million not to play football this year.
But
okay,
I think if he plays a certain number of games, I think that can go up to like 8 or 9. And you're talking about a guy in his last year,
who knows?
probably.
The team says we'll give you $6 million to let you go or something, whatever.
Yeah.
Go nice, but just teach our guys. Remember, a couple $1 million to a football team is nothing. It's
I know.
Change.
I know. For us, it's a lot of money, but for them, it's nothing.
And
right?
and if Joe Flacco can bring a quarterback along, a good jump into the NFL, not all of that, just a good jump.
But the problem,
he's worth that money.
So here's the problem, though: is if you're in the off season, and a lot of times when you see vets mentor rookies, it's 1-on-1. Is Joe Flacco going to be able to teach Kenny Pickett and Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders enough?
Who says Joe Flacco doesn't end up as a quarterback coach in Cleveland?
For me, I don't. If you knew you were going to draft 2 quarterbacks, or even if you knew you were going to draft 1, if you knew you're like, hey, we're going to spend a 3rd round pick on Dylan Gabriel, we like him, he interviewed well, whatever, or even if it was going to be a 4th round pick on Gabriel, you traded for Kenny Pickett and you got Joe Flacco. I don't get the Shedeur Sanders pick, or vice versa. I don't get the Dylan Gabriel pick if you thought, well, if Shedeur falls to us in the 5th round, that's even better.
I don't think anyone thought Shedeur was going to fall quite that low. I think maybe it was just you're sitting around. If it's you and me sitting around, I'm going, Shedeur's still available. Nobody wants him. He can't be that bad. Depends on what you read. My read on was because right up to a week before the draft, I'm telling you, these guys had him. Mel Kiper still had him ranked number 1. And Mel wasn't alone. I'm not giving him a hard knock here. This guy was number 1 or number 2 on pretty much everyone's list between him and Cam Ward. And Cam Ward, as we've said, he's up there. He is the real thing. So Shedeur, even being number 2 to that, should still put him up there high. So then they said, well, it was the personal interviews. It was this, it was that. Well, so he has some personal interviews. Straighten him out. Well, he's Deion Sanders' kid. Deion will be telling the kid, listen to what they're telling you.
My big thing is that I think there was a mixture of 3 things. One, when he wore those New York Giant cleats out there, and then he went to the other interviews, and I think he truly thought the Giants were going to take him at number 3 or 4, whatever they drafted, right? I think he thinks, well, this is my team, because everyone...
The Giants themselves let that out of the bag. Well, this isn't people just suppositing. Everything the New York Giants said and did led people to believe it.
And so that's number 1. Number 2, his dad is Deion Sanders. And number 3, I think, comes a little bit with number 2 is, I think you had coaches that convinced owners not to take Shedeur because they were worried about Deion taking their job.
Oh, that's in New York.
And
let me tell you, the New York Giants were very afraid of that.
I don't think it's just New York. I think there was quite a few teams that could have looked to replace maybe. I think that the Saints were another one where Kellen Moore's only been there. This is going to be his first year. He was maybe looking like, oh, fuck, I don't want to be Gerard Mayo. And I don't want to end up with that. You know what I mean? And so for me, I just wonder if, I think those 3 things kind of hammered Shedeur. He seems like a good kid. I mean, he's been training with Tom Brady, so you got to know his dad is as much of a hemorrhoid as his dad was playing. His dad gets those fucking players ready. Mm-hmm. Like, look at Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter.
He turned football programs around.
Yeah.
Jackson.
Jackson, yeah. And then in Colorado, I mean, but for me, it's like, I just wonder if it's one of those things. Because for me, I always said all along, I had Cam Ward as clear number 1.
Me too.
And I had Jackson Dart as number 2.
No,
and
I said Shedeur as 2.
Yeah, and then I had Shedeur as 3. But I thought, either way, I thought, well, Dart or Shedeur. If Shedeur went ahead of Dart, I would have been like, okay, whatever. And if Dart went ahead of Shedeur, for me, I was like, okay, whatever. It doesn't really matter. But Shedeur should be able to win the starting job. It's just going to be, do they give him enough reps in practice that he can win it?
The one thing that Cam Ward could do that Shedeur couldn't is escape, run, and get yards. But Shedeur, for several years, has attended a lot of Tom Brady football school. Tom Brady never got out of trouble and ran. He threw his way out. So if you've got a quarterback trained like that, that's that. And that's why I gave Cam Ward the edge.
But do you think
second to Shedeur being there, He's been trained by Tom Brady. He's been trained by Deion Sanders, even though that is his dad. So maybe his interviews went south. Okay. These guys, you have to understand, these guys all have interview coaches. They have combine coaches. They have people whose their parents pay a lot of money to these people to get their kid ready for this and that. Maybe he just got some bad advice from one of them. A bad interview should not be a reason for a guy to slip from a second, third, fourth overall pick to a fifth rounder.
Well, so here's my thing is, I don't know if you remember or not, obviously as Pats fans, Gronk tells a story about falling asleep for the Pats, and the Pats still took him in the second round. So it's like, what happened in those?
Nobody said he was smart.
What happened in those interviews? Yeah, but even if people want to say, well, Shador's not smart, it's like, okay, well,
Shador's smart.
he still should have been.
Shador's a smart kid.
No, for sure, and I agree. But even if you want to say he wasn't a smart kid, and you want to say, why wasn't he the third quarterback taken? Because even if you want to say, well, Jackson Dart showed that he's way smarter, he did this, and I still, like I said, I think Cam Ward, I think in any draft that Cam Ward goes into, I think Cam Ward was, in the last 5 years, I see Cam Ward as a top quarterback. I like the way he plays, I like his personality, I like every single thing about Cam Ward that Cam Ward represents.
Yeah.
And even on draft day, how, you had all those guys showing up in fucking these flashy suits, these flashy chains, all this, and there's Cam Ward with just a regular suit on, a regular chain. I think he's going to come into Tennessee this year. I think he's going to show he's got something. And then next year when they get him some real help, he's going to light that league on fire.
You can't turn the Tennessee Titans around in 1 year with Cam Ward, but you can build around him.
Oh, yeah. And so for me, it's like, I just wonder, was Shador saying or doing something in those interviews so bad that pissed people off where they just said, well, fuck this kid, we're not going to deal with it? Because, look at all the hate. I mean, look at... You got guys like Johnny Manziel coming out of college. You got guys like you could.
But Johnny Manziel.
But you could name 1,000.
The draft cops, as I call them, the investigators in the NFL that follow the kids around and do this and do that. You follow Shador around all over. He doesn't have a black mark on him.
No,
everything about him is clean.
Yeah, but this is what I mean. It's like you see guys like Johnny that come out. And he had all those partying issues, and he's turned his life around. So shout out for him being sober. I think for 2 years now. But you have all these guys that come out of the draft. Ezekiel Elliott was ripping girls' shirts open, and Elliott still went fourth. And it's like Shador has no dings against him, like you said, and
clean.
it's like
totally clean.
So for me, I want to know what happened in those draft processes. I'm wondering if it was more of a thing where coaches were worried that if they took Shador and he was their guy, and that coach didn't win right away, that they were going to bring Deion in. Because
I think that's true.
I think that's
true with the Giants, and I think in New Orleans it might be even more true, because as we've talked about in our predictions for the upcoming season, that the New Orleans are just terrible.
Yeah.
And their draft picks, the injuries on that team have stopped their top draft picks from turning that team around.
Yeah.
And, they took a 27-year-old quarterback.
Yeah. Oh, and that's the other thing, too. Taking him above Shador was just a fucking joke.
Kellen Moore's job is probably done anyways.
Well, here's
but at least this way, Deion's not going to get it. That's about
here's the other thing I'm wondering, though, is like, I wonder, did Kellen Moore buy 4 years with his thing? Because if after 2 years with Tyler Shaw, he goes, well, look, you guys gave me a 27-year-old.
Yeah.
Give me a new guy, and let me show you what I can do. But I just need to know. I wish I could have been a fly on every wall that he went to.
Do you think Deion is an NFL caliber head coach?
Yes.
So do I.
But I also think that he shouldn't coach his own son in the NFL. I think Deion would be better suited to going to a place like Houston that has a quarterback, or somewhere that already has an established quarterback, and he can bring his culture and he can bring his ways that he did in college football, and then he can also bring in his defense, because he's obviously a defensive guy, one of the best or the best cornerback to maybe ever play. And I don't think he should take his son and try to build a franchise. Yeah. It's a lot harder to build a franchise in the NFL than it is at college, because now you got NIL money, you got guys that can transfer, you have guys that want to play for Neon Deion there, because when you come out of college, that's like playing for Nick Saban now, right?
And I think so that's the difference of him coaching. Coaching your kid in college is it's all flowers, it's all fun and games, and you got your kid and everyone's going to want to come play. But in the NFL, you really want to play for a guy who's play for a head coach guy whose son is on that team.
Yeah.
that might be a difference. Because the minute one simple little thing looks like Shedeur was favored,
Oh yeah, yeah,
like they didn't pull him out of the game,
yeah,
or something like that, they let him throw the ball when they should have passed, then those guys are going to turn sour on you.
yeah.
So
Agree.
yeah, coaching in the NFL with your son would be different. And I don't think that Shedeur needs his dad to be the coach.
No, I think he can succeed anywhere. I think you're absolutely right. All right, moving along, we are gonna talk about them Cowboys. What is a successful year for Dak Prescott?
Well, if you want to be more successful than last year, go 9-8 and go over 500 for the first time
So this is
in a few years. Not the first time ever. Sorry.
yeah, this is where we differ. Because for me, I don't care what Dak does in the regular season. I picked them to win the division. I don't care if they win the division. I don't care if they go 7-10 and somehow sneak into the playoffs on a crazy thing. Dak has to win a playoff game this year. If Dak goes
Just one?
he's got to show me that he can win at least one this year. If Dak goes 15-2 and he pulls a Jared Goff and he's the reason that they lose, throwing bad picks, it's the same old Dak. He went 12-12 with McCarthy, right? And it resulted in just nothing. It was all for nothing. He got Mike McCarthy 36 wins in 3 years, and McCarthy still lost his job.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't care if Dak and them, I don't care if they blow the Eagles out both games, and I don't care if they blow the Redskins out both games, and I don't care if they blow the Giants out both games. If he goes to the playoffs and lays another egg, you've heard me, you know me. I love Dak Prescott.
He's
everything
still
that
$100
he's
million
represented.
deep into his contract.
Yeah, and I love everything about Dak. You know, all the shit that he's done and all the shit he's been through with his mom dying, his brother dying. I think he's one of the best guys in the NFL, I would tend to guess. But in order for him to be successful this year, he's got to win a playoff game. And I know they didn't make the playoffs last year, and I know they got a new head coach. But guess what, Dak? You make $60 million, buddy. Time for you to play like a $60 million quarterback.
Yeah.
Because when Tom was getting paid $20 million back then, and when Mahomes getting paid 45 or 50, whatever he is, and when last year when everyone looked at Josh Allen's team and they were like, "Oh, that's a dog shit team," guess what Josh Allen did? Put him on his back, and he took him to the AFC Championship game. And realistically, he was probably should have beat Mahomes.
He was
But
2 inches from the first down, depending on which angle you saw in the video.
Yeah. And so for me,
Going,
he's
yeah.
got to win. Dak's got to win a playoff game. He's got to win one. I don't care if he wins one and then they get blown up the next game. He's got to win one game. And ideally, he would make it to the Super Bowl and the Cowboys would lose just so I could see those fucking Cowboy fans cry. That would be beautiful. Beautiful day. Beautiful day. Me and Stephen A. Smith would have to have a nice cigar together.
Yeah, one playoff win. I don't know. When you're that deep into rebuilding a team, and you're paying these guys, and you've got Mika, and you've got Dak, and you've got CD,
George Pickens now too.
and you got these guys, you got to win more than one playoff game. Just with that team, like you said, that went 12-12-12. You got to win more than one playoff.
Well, that's the thing too, right? Losing to San Fran twice, and one of them was Dak's fault because I don't know what the hell is he doing running that ball there. I don't even know what happened there. And then getting blown out against essentially what was a rookie Jordan Love at home. That was fucking embarrassing. So for me, I think if you win one game and then say you go against Philly in the second round and Philly beats you and Philly ends up going to the Super Bowl, I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, fine, whatever. But they got to win one.
Philly ain't going to the Super Bowl. KC ain't going to the Super Bowl.
But from
You're gonna see two new teams there this year. Bold prediction. But that's the way I see it going.
so for me, yeah.
So maybe it's gonna be Dallas.
We're both hoping so that we would have something to talk about. So for you then, what you think he's got to win multiple games then?
He's got to at least have a winning season.
So what happens if
He's got to stay healthy.
Say they pull.
He's got to try. He's got to play
He's healthy,
16 of the
yes.
games. He's got to play 16 of those 17 games.
But say he pulls what the Patriots did there with Matt Castle. Say he wins 11 games this year, and somehow whatever happens, they don't make it to the playoffs. See, and
You're
for me,
considered not good enough.
and that's what I mean.
Yeah.
So for me, that's not successful. Winning, I don't care. Like I said, if they go 7-10 or whatever, and they sneak into the playoffs somehow, and they win a game, I think it's a successful year. If they go 15-2 and he pulls a Jared Goff and gets blown out in the first game next year, for me, I don't consider that successful. I just consider that like, oh, that's another Dak year. That's just what it is. And they're going to start calling that. It's another Dak year.
Yeah.
It's another Dak year. Like, that's all it is.
Well, he's been there the longest of all the big players getting paid. So, and it's on his shoulders when you want the most money and you get the most money.
And two, Dak's coming to that age
and
now.
you prove that you can do. I mean, the talent the guy has shown.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like you're picking a bum out and saying, go win.
No, and he was second in MVP voting, not last year, but the year prior. Oh, yeah, no, the year prior. Right. And he's got second team All Pros. He's got Pro Bowls. Like, Dak is a great regular season quarterback. He's got to win me a playoff game this year.
So
I got to
see
see
Herbert.
Yeah, and I got to see Dak Prescott win a playoff game. Like I said, I don't care how many wins he's got in the regular season. I picked them to win the division. Again, if they go 7-10 somehow and sneak in, I'm fine with that as long as they win a game. He's got to win a playoff game this year, I think. I don't know how much longer you can sit around and wait for Dak to win, because at this point, when you have a chance to move on from him, do you move on from him and just start Joe Milton? Because if Dak gets you to the playoffs and loses every year,
I hope the Dallas fans aren't as stupid-ass crazy as a Patriots fan over Joe Milton.
No, but I'm saying not even, it doesn't have to be Joe Milton, but do you look to move on from Dak when you can get out of that contract, which I think is at the end of next year, not this year, end of next year. Do you look at just starting like a guy like Joe Milton, because Dak's going to be 32 and he's already proven he can't win a playoff game? How much longer are you going to wait for Dak to win?
And they might not be able to get much for him. They might get a third, fourth, fifth round pick for him at that point.
I don't think you'll get anything for Dak at that point. Who wants to pay Dak $60 million? No. He's going to be 33 before that season starts, and he's got no playoff wins. Why the fuck would you pay for him? No, I'm not saying it's got to be him, but why would you?
It's kind of unfortunate too, because then he hits the free agent market, and then people can pay him like $20 million that he might pay for.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, well, it won't be Washington that picks him up or Philly, but say the Giants do, and he takes them ahead of Dallas.
Yeah,
the interdivisional guys.
But you know what? For me, it's one of those things. Do you pay Dak? It's the same thing with Trevor Lawrence. Do you pay Trevor Lawrence and Dak $60 million, or do you take a guy like Joe Milton and you figure
Trevor Lawrence will not get another big contract in?
No, but do you take one
in Jacksonville under his present playing conditions?
But do you take a guy like Dak or a guy like Trevor Lawrence and pay him $60 million, or do you take a guy like Joe Milton or whoever, a backup, and is making $5 or $6 million, and do you say, you know what, we'll roll with him? Because even if you don't make the playoffs, I mean, does making the playoffs and getting blown out in the playoffs, I mean, what's better?
Well, you have to move on. You have to either get a remarkable free agent quarterback, which almost never happens, or you have to draft. You have to go back to the draft, and you got to draft a quarterback again.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. So I don't know. So for me, for a successful year for Dak, he's got to win a playoff game. And what you say, what is a successful one for you? A successful season for Dak Prescott. What is it?
Well, really, in all honesty, even winning one playoff game isn't going to satisfy the Cowboy fans and the people that want Dak kicked out of town. If he wins one and then gets blown out in the second one, I mean, if he plays a team that barely made the playoffs and is 500 or under, and he barely ekes out a win, and then he goes on and gets blown away,
I think Cowboy fans would just be so ecstatic to win a playoff game. It's been how many fucking years since they won one? 25?
Yeah, I don't know. They're never going to be satisfied with a simple win against an easy team.
Well, I think so. Here's the thing: is I think that Cowboy fans will never be satisfied until they win a Super Bowl. But at some point,
I think if he got to the NFC Championship game, they'd at least consider that enough of a jump to legitimately say, not just all the legitimately say, now we got a shot. Next year we're going to bring in a bit more. We're going to draft a bit better. Maybe sign a free agent and see where they're lacking. If it happens to be in defense or at corner or safety or something, and pick up a free agent that can be the guy to take you all the way.
Okay. All right. Moving on. This is going to be a good one. Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen? Who needs a Super Bowl more?
Well, we live halfway between Detroit and Buffalo. So we see, and Buffalo being in the AFC against the Patriots as well, we see a lot more of Buffalo than we do Baltimore. It's a toss-up. From what we see and the way television goes, where we are in the games we watch and everything, you'd think Josh Allen. But maybe it's Lamar. Because Lamar is You talk about Dak Prescott being a really good regular season quarterback. Lamar Jackson is probably the best regular season quarterback in the league.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that.
His win-loss record is incredible until it comes to playoff time.
Yeah.
His last year, what he was I think 41 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. That's just incredible.
Yeah.
And he threw for like well over 4,000 yards. So he has better regular season stats than Josh Allen. You see a little more of Josh Allen on the TV. You see a little more of him on the talk shows and the clips and stuff that they're doing, because Buffalo has come a long way. Baltimore is the top team in that division, has been for some years, and just cannot cut through the playoffs and get to the Super Bowl. So I would say, here's the thing. Neither one of them are in any danger of losing their job, no matter how bad that year is. It's not like you're talking like Dak, who, maybe we have to move on from. Neither one of those teams are moving on from either one of those quarterbacks. So who's it more important to? I just kind of going to give the edge to a bit more important to Lamar, because he's already proved that he is Mr. Everything in the regular season.
Agreed.
And he's going to have to prove that in the playoffs. Where Josh Allen is Mr. Working Man. He's your blue-collar, hard-stuff guy, fighting it out in the trenches and everything like that. And he's got good stats, but not like Lamar's.
Well, so for me, I think it's got to be Lamar Jackson as well. Lamar Jackson is 3-5 in the playoffs, and I believe the only 2 quarterbacks he's beaten is Ryan Tannehill twice, and he's also lost to Ryan Tannehill, and then a rookie CJ Stroud. So, everyone's calling, even me, I'm calling for Joe Burrow's head. Joe Burrow is 5-2 in the playoffs, including beating Josh Allen. I believe they also beat Lamar Jackson, and he also beat Patrick Mahomes, which is something Josh Allen nor Lamar Jackson have ever done in the playoffs. And so for me, if you look at the rosters, there's no doubt in your mind the Ravens have a way better roster through and through than the Bills do.
And they just got stronger.
Yeah, and they just got better adding Jair Alexander, right? So for me, I think it's got to be Lamar, and I don't think it's close. I would love to see. I mean, you know me. I hate to admit, as a Pats fan, Josh Allen's probably my favorite player outside of the New England Patriots organization. But a 3-5 playoff record, only beating Tannehill and Stroud, a rookie CJ Stroud at that. For what is he, a 3-time MVP?
Yeah.
For me, that just doesn't do it. I mean, he's gonna have to do something this year to really prove it. You got Derrick Henry. You got, Mark Andrews. Hopefully he bounces back. Zay Flowers is coming back. You got a bunch of guys. So for me, I think it's Lamar. And I think Lamar also in this playoffs, I think he needs a signature win.
Yeah.
I think Lamar needs to beat Patrick Mahomes. He needs to beat Josh Allen. He can't just beat 2 shit teams, go to the AFC Championship game, and then get beaten up by Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes is beatable this year, and the Chiefs are beatable. And I say that as a Pats fan because I don't want to win any more goddamn Super Bowls and coming close to Tom Brady's record. But and I've said before, I absolutely hate Patrick Mahomes, and it's because I'm jealous of him. He's kind of proven to be the best all-around quarterback in the league for the last 5 years anyways, because of his record. He gets to the playoffs. He wins playoff games. And that's what Lamar's got to beat. Lamar's got to show that he is the next Patrick Mahomes. And he could very well be. He has a team around him.
He does have the team around him now.
He's got the coaching.
I worry about Harbaugh.
Well, Harbaugh's got a great overall record. I mean, Andy Reid and Harbaugh, I mean, you got 2 wily veterans there that know how to win games.
Yeah.
But the difference is Andy Reid knows how to win playoff games.
Well, Andy Reid knows how to win the big games, right? And Josh Allen is definitely going to have to at least get to one. But Lamar Jackson, I mean, the talent that guy has and what he's won and the team that they have, I think this is the way I look at it. If you took Josh Allen and you put him on the Baltimore Ravens all those years where they had the defenses and they had the run game, I think Josh Allen has gotten to one. There's never been a player on the offense for Josh Allen that really scares you. Maybe Diggs when Diggs was
did
there
for a short time.
Yeah. But other than that, so for me, I just think that Lamar's gonna have to Lamar has to step up. It is the guy be here, and he's got to get a signature win. He's got to get a win where he's he beats Josh Allen or he beats Patrick Mahomes, and ideally he does it on the road to show, hey, like I don't need my thing. But so for me, I think Lamar needs the Super Bowl more, just even an appearance. Not that neither of them need to win. Lamar needs that appearance.
Yeah, to get there for the first time.
Yeah, like he needs a thing because like you could look at like guys like Jared Goff have been there, and then you got a guy like Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen that haven't been there. I think they both need to get there, but I think Lamar needs it just a bit more than Josh Allen does this year. All right, moving on, guys. We are going to do a segment now. Joe Burrow in the Super Bowl or Joe Burrow just to make the playoffs? What do you think is more likely?
Well, it's more likely they make the playoffs than they make to win the Super Bowl. That's for sure. I don't know that either one is likely. They finished last year on a 5-game win streak. When everyone got healthy, when T. Higgins came back and that.
Hang on, let me change that question then. Do you think it's more likely that Joe Burrow is in the playoffs or that Joe Burrow misses the playoffs for his third straight year?
I think they're going to make the playoffs. I think they're going to make the playoffs.
Even with that porous defense? That defense is only going to get worse, especially if they lose Trey Henderson and they still haven't signed Shamar.
That's the key. But again, I want to go on the whole point that they won. They finished the game the season on a 5-game winning streak, and they have to take over from that. Joe has done his job. T has done his job. Jamar Chase done his job. The whole offense has done their job. Definitely, the defense has to get those points down because they're just horrible.
But with all of that money paid to those three guys, is the defense going to be able to do anything? How many rookies can you really start hoping that they are hits? You're paying Joe Burrow's 55, I think. T is 30 and 30. Jamar's 40 something.
When your W-2 is over $30 million, you got a salary cap problem.
Yeah, and then you're not paying Trey Hendrickson. That whole stupid contract thing with Shamar Stewart is it Shamar Stewart? Yeah. Shamar Stewart. I don't know what they.
That's the rookie who's come in and they're just not giving him the standard rookie thing. They're trying to screw him over a little bit here and there and try and be able to weasel out his contract.
Yeah, it's the wording for I think his injury. Injury clause,
but he's not holding out for anything that every other rookie gets.
No, he just wants what's very basic.
The standard. He just wants the standard, and he should get it. That should be automatic.
Yes. Yeah.
The Bengals blew $10 million a year in the offseason by not signing Jamar Chase. Oh, we're going to make you the highest paid. We'll just have to wait. And as they're waiting, the highest paid started going up a couple million, a couple million more, and a couple million more.
That also raised T's salary cap too, because when the number one's making 50, T goes, okay, well I'm a number two, so I want at least 30.
And they could have done that for at least $10 million a year less if they would have just done it at the end of last year.
And they should have just signed T. Higgins at the end of last year too. I don't know what the hell they were waiting for. I thought
they were trading him.
So did I, but obviously their GM said that they had no intentions ever on trading T. Higgins. All the trade rumors apparently were just bullshit, which...
It's a dynamite 1-2 combo, but it's costing you a fortune.
And you know what? Here's the other thing is, I think that you could have gone to the draft, and I think you could have drafted a number 2 somewhere, and I think anyone with Jamar Chase as number 1,
they had like the 18th overall pick. They could have had almost anyone they wanted. Yeah. There's only 2 guys gone by then.
And here's the thing is that even if you waited till the 3rd round, I think almost any number 2 with Jamar Chase is going to be dynamite because Jamar Chase is just a top 3 receiver, no matter how you want to play between him, CD, and Jefferson. In my opinion, those are the top 3. But like, no matter how you cut it, I don't understand what they were waiting for. It's the same thing with the Cowboys paying Micah Parsons. Like, just fucking pay him. If you're going to pay him, just pay him. If you're going to trade him, just trade him. I don't know this whole thing about holding out for an extra. I mean, those contracts dragged on for a year? Like, just pay him. And
in the end, it would have been cheaper because what they would have got him for then went up by millions by the time they signed him.
I think they probably would have got Jamar for around 31, if I remember correctly back then, and then T would have only been like 24, 23.
25. They're talking about that's what he wanted at the
time.
Yeah,
and so I mean, you would have saved $6 million on him, and you would have saved $10 million on Jamar.
The Bengals are the most.
$16 million.
I mean, there's worse, definitely worse teams on the field, but they're one of the most inept organizations in the NFL.
I think so, and I think that
Good drafting by all means. But
their GM he's hit some home runs lately. I mean, you got Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. Like, you can't.
but when you're drafting that high every year,
Yeah, well, I think T. Higgins was a second-round pick, but still, like Chase Brown, Canadian boy, by the way.
Yeah,
Shout out Chase Brown. And from our hometown, actually.
Yeah.
But I just wonder. It's like I don't know. I don't get what they were doing. I don't get why they held out. I don't get why teams hold out.
It's just an inept. They have seen when people want to be the highest paid, like CD, Dak, that they've seen what it costs.
Yeah.
And then they hold out. As they're holding out, they see that somebody else is now number one. So now you got to outpay them. And then again, somebody else became a number one. Now you got to outpay them. And it's just a ladder that's going, in terms of what you're paying them, up and up and up.
Yeah.
Because you said you'd make them number one. And, like I say, Jamar Chase, is he the number one receiver in the league? Some people think so. But if you say top three and you get 100 people that know football, Jamar Chase's name is going to be in there 99 or 100 times.
Well, and the problem is that he just won the Triple Crown last year.
Yes, he did.
So sorry guys, the Triple Crown for like receiving, right? So
Yes.
yards, receptions, and
Touchdowns.
Yards, receptions, and touchdowns, right? Yeah, he led the Triple Crown. So I just don't.
And the catches. Oh my God, the highlight from catches.
And so you're gonna pay him. I just don't get. I don't know why they. I don't get why they held out. Anyways, I don't know. I don't.
And honestly, I talked about good drafting. That I don't even think it's a GM holding out. I think that comes from above.
I think it comes from ownership.
Because ownership is the one that writes the checks.
Oh, yeah.
And there's no GM signing contracts without saying to the owner, this is what it's going to cost.
I really think the only one that maybe even has a shot at that is Howie Roseman now. Belichick maybe before when he was with the Pats, but I mean, Howie Roseman's showing you guys that he can
Belichick ripped everybody off and undersigned.
True.
That's why he
So you think Joe Burrow in or Joe Burrow out of the playoffs? Which was more likely?
Well, I'm gonna ride that 5-game winning streak. The one thing that bugs me the most about the Bengals in general, but the team, the on-the-field team, they allowed 434 points last year. Oof. The lowly Cleveland Browns allowed 435. So they only allowed 1 point less than the Cleveland Browns.
Well, and here's the thing: is the Browns' defense probably got better because they drafted that tackle out of Michigan,
and they've already signed Myles Garrett. They signed their best player. They didn't let him walk.
And that's the thing is like you don't have Hendrickson, and now you don't have your number one D tackle there. It's like. Which is going to be Shamar Stewart, right? Because Henderson's your edge, and Shamar Stewart's going to be your D tackle, and it's like I don't know what their plan
That's
is.
a lot to ask for a rookie.
Yes,
because he can only do his job.
Yes,
and when you allow as many points as the Cleveland Browns, it's not because you had one bad guy on defense.
No, you had a bunch of really bad guys on defense, and so I mean, even so, like they ended up letting Jesse Bates and those guys walk. For me, I mean. Unfortunately, I picked them to win the division, so I have Joe Burrow more likely in the playoffs. But it's going to be on Joe Burrow, not on that defense.
Joe puts up the points, though.
So for you think in or out, more likely?
More likely in, but
okay.
It's a squeak.
So it's a squeak in. Okay. All right, we will move on here. Obviously, as Pats fans, some people are not going to like this question, but here on the Top 10 podcast, we do not give a shit. Does Patrick Mahomes need a bounce-back season in way of stat-wise? Obviously, him making it to Super Bowl last year, this and that. But over the last 2 seasons, he's looked pretty pedestrian. And in the Super Bowl...
He's come down to earth.
And in the Super Bowl, you could see it in his eyes. So when he lost to the Bucs, he realized my left tackle, my right tackle, they just can't stop him. But when he lost to Philly, it was like he had that frustrated look in his eyes. He had that look that you've never seen Tom Brady have, and the look you've never seen Patrick Mahomes have until that game, right? Like you didn't see guys like Joe Montana. You didn't see him have that. Especially not in the Super Bowl. I mean, obviously you're going to have bad games here and there, and you're going to be pissed. And I mean, Brady broke tablets on the sidelines, and he told Bill O'Brien to fuck off and all that. But, I mean, in the Super Bowl, you never seen Joe Montana. You never seen guys like Terry Bradshaw. You never seen guys like Tom Brady. And even Jalen Hurts. When Jalen Hurts lost that Super Bowl KC a few years back, he outplayed Mahomes. And it's just like
He did, but Jalen Hurts plays a slightly different game now, a little less running, a little smarter, and because of it, he's taking less hits. And we talked before,
But so that's-
Patrick Mahomes has probably taken more hits than anybody
that's
in
just
the NFL.
and that just comes with him playing 3 or 4 extra games every year for
Well,
the last-
there's that and the games, and he will hold on to the ball and he will try to escape, and he's won games from it. And there's no coach going to say, don't do that, Patrick, because it wins them games. It wins them Super Bowls.
Yeah.
So I think that his body has taken a lot of abuse. I don't think he has the arm that he used to. It's just my own thing. Maybe he maybe can't plant the same, maybe can't rotate the same, maybe it's his shoulder, but he just doesn't seem to quite have that long ball that he used to.
I think that's also too, though, that because now he's making $45 million or whatever, they don't have that line that they used to have. KC had a good line for him when he first got there. I wouldn't say it was great or elite, but he had a top 10 line at least.
Line. He did.
And now it's like, again, man, when people start getting paid, Travis Kelce wanted to get paid, Patrick Mahomes wanted to get paid, Chris Jones got paid.
And don't forget
those
those linemen. They come up on their second deals and they want to get paid.
Oh yeah, the good ones especially, right? The good
ones.
ones.
They see, all the teams see. Well, he did that for Patrick Mahomes. We want him protecting our quarterback.
Yeah, and so for me, so apparently they're saying that Rashee Rice is not going to have a suspension this year, which I would be shocked if somehow he got off. A suspension.
I'm not betting that he's going to make much difference to the Kansas City Chiefs.
I think he does, but I think he's going to be. I think he's going to be about halfway through the year. Excuse me, guys. So for me, I think he needs to have a bounce back in stats wise. I mean, he's gotten to the Super Bowl last year. He always plays in the AFC Championship game. I mean, like, he doesn't need a bounce back. But they need
That's kind of the odd question. Does he need a bounce back here? He went to the Super Bowl. How do you bounce back? You win.
He needs a bounce back thing statistic wise, I think. For me, I always worry about, is it his defense carrying him? Is it Andy Reid's ability to scheme things? And has he lost a step? Because when you look at him over the last few years, no one can argue. In the regular season, it looks like he's lost a step. You can't deny that it looks like he has clearly slowed down at least a little bit.
He's been hit a lot.
Yes.
He probably doesn't want to get hit on. He is aging. Don't forget, man, these guys are all aging as good as they are. And the whole concept of looking at Tom Brady playing till he's like 107 in football years probably isn't going to happen.
Well, that's the thing. I think that Brady skews a lot of stats for people. Super Bowl wins, his longevity, this and that. Even Aaron Rodgers. I mean, yeah, sure, Aaron Rodgers plays till he's 40 this year, 41 or something like that this year. That's not the norm. No. And even so, Aaron Rodgers' last 4 years, I mean, if you take out the Achilles, 3-4 years? Yeah. They haven't been great.
No, they haven't.
That's why they were willing to move on with Jordan Love. Yeah. They were just kind of like, you know what, man? First of all, you're holding the team hostage. Second of all, and with the Jets, I don't know. So for me, Mahomes is still young. I think he's 28 or something like that. He's somewhere in that Josh Allen range, 28, 29. They kind of came in at the same time. I want to see him at least put up some stats where you can say, okay, Patrick Mahomes is back.
Two of the most important stats. It's going to be your win-loss record, how far you went in the playoffs. 3-time Super Bowl champion. He's lost a couple. He's getting to the Super Bowl on a regular basis.
Yeah, but
he went 15-2 last year.
Yeah, but you know what, too? I think some of those one-score games that he had aren't going to go that way. Blocking a kick for Denver. See, this is what I mean, though. When you look at it, it's almost his defense winning
They only had a plus-minus of 56. And I don't think it's sustainable to be 15-2 again. I just don't think the team goes 15-2 this year.
No.
And they can be exactly as good as they would last year, but some of those 1-point, 3-point games are going to go the other way. And they won't be 15-2. So I think statistically, I don't think you're going to see him do better.
Yeah.
Do they win that division? Possibly. Do they go to the playoffs again? Super Bowl again? Possibly. Do they win the Super Bowl? Possibly. But, as Pats fans, we really don't want him to.
Yeah, I think stat-wise, I want to see him put up one of those Patrick Mahomes seasons again. I want him. I love watching those, even I got a really good buddy, and he's a Steelers fan. So it killed him watching Tom put up those numbers and knocking out Ben Roethlisberger those years and stuff like that. But even he said he just wants to see history. I want to see Mahomes put up some historic seasons again because I still think he can.
Well, he was just a shy under 4,000 yards. He was like 39 something, and he didn't play the game. So
but you know what though?
So he basically, if he played, he's over 4,000.
Yeah, but what was his touchdown interception? I don't know. It wasn't that great, was it?
No.
And it's just I want to see him throw for 40 touchdowns again. I want to see him throw for 4,500 yards again. I know of all the quarterbacks in the NFL, he can. So I want to see him. I want to see him have one of those seasons.
Yeah, it wasn't that good. It was 26-11. His touchdown interception ratio.
Right. I want
Lamar Jackson.
I want to see I want to see 40 touchdowns. I want to see 40 touchdowns, and I want to see 7 picks.
Well, he doesn't have the receivers he had.
So here's the thing. I think Rashee Rice comes back. I think he's a true wide receiver one. I think Xavier Worthy slots into number 2 nicely, which is what he needs. Hollywood Brown then slots into number 3. I think that's where Hollywood Brown should be, as a number 3 wide receiver. I think Pacheco coming back healthy. They re-signed Kareem Hunt. I think you see they drafted the tackle, the offensive tackle there. I know he did have some injuries in college that really scared a lot of teams off him. I think it was Connolly Jr. I think they signed. Excuse me if I'm wrong on that, but I want to see a Patrick Mahomes season. I want to see 4,500 yards, 40 touchdowns, less than 10 picks. Because of everyone in the NFL, I mean, if you had $1,000 say to bet, and they said you got to pick a quarterback to do this, I think most people are going to go, okay, well, Patrick Mahomes is. I mean, most people have him as 1 or 2 in the NFL. Most people have him as 1. I want him to be my guy that you got to put your life savings on the line for if he's going to throw for 40 touchdowns that season. So, especially in today's NFL. There's no excuse in today's NFL. If Lamar Jackson's throwing for 40 touchdowns, Patrick Mahomes better throw for 40 touchdowns.
Lamar Jackson's throwing for 41 touchdowns and 4 interceptions.
And he also has...
that's incredible.
And he has Derrick Henry back there.
Yeah.
And he's got Derrick Henry. So for me, I want to see... I'm not saying he needs to have a bounce back year in terms of winning, but he needs to have a bounce back year in terms of giving me those Patrick Mahomes stats again. Let me see you be Patrick Mahomes.
If you're the coach, if you're Andy Reid, if you're any NFL coach, and let's say for some reason Reid decides I'm retiring, and then another coach comes in, why would he want to change what made them 15-2 and got to the Super Bowl?
Because I think
I don't see why they want to change that. And again, I mean, let's say he got 4,000 yards because he was just a shy under it. And he didn't play the last game.
But it's one of those things where it's again you're a plus 56 and you're 15-2. I don't even think I think if they do that again this year, there's no way that they get more than 10 wins. How many times are you going to win those 3-score games?
I've said that myself, but I don't think.
And I get it though, because like what is the greatest quality about guys like Joe Montana and Tom Brady?
They can win the close ones.
That's right, and Patrick Mahomes is one of those ones. But I just want to see. I want to see a bit of a bounce back here. That's all. I just want to see a stat bounce back here for me. So, and I just traded for you, Patrick Mahomes. So you fucking better do something for my dynasty.
Well, I hope he stinks up the shit sink and has to retire. Only because I'm jealous. Patriots. I don't want him to break Tom Brady's record.
Oh, he's the only guy. He's the only guy
He's the only guy on the only team with the only coach in the NFL that can do it.
I think that I don't see him ever getting to that.
And that's why I hate him. I'm going to keep in mind.
So,
but
all right, our last topic for the day is going to be: can the Eagles repeat? And this is a shout out question to one of our viewers who is a very good friend of mine. We'll call him AK. So this is a question this is a topic for him.
Well, AK and I disagree. I say no. I think Philly has lost too much since those guys all want to go and get paid again.
Oh yeah.
But they lost on defense. And the defense that just buried Patrick Mahomes, just buried the best quarterback in the league on the game that mattered the most.
Yes, on the game.
And then they've lost that. I don't think they win their division. They're still good enough, though. They should make the playoffs. But, there hasn't been too many repeat teams in the NFL, and I don't see it happening. I'll give it an absolute no, only because they've lost so much that it's just an absolute no. It's not even a think about question for me. They don't repeat.
I'm just looking something up, guys. Sorry, last repeat winner for NFC East. I can't remember how
Oh,
many
it would be 2004. Philly won it in 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004. And then it's been Philly, Dallas, Philly, Dallas, Philly, Dallas, Washington, Philly, Dallas, New York, Philly, Dallas. Those guys have just seemed to go back and forth in that division.
Okay, so the NFC has not had a repeat champion since 2004.
Four.
However,
And that was 4 years in a row that Philly had won it till 2004.
However, I do think Philly gets back to the Super Bowl. I've picked Dallas to win that division. I think there's 3 teams that come out of that division. I think that
The Commanders are.
I think I think the Redskins can get there. I know Philly can get there, and I think Dallas can. I picked Dallas to win, so hopefully Dallas can get there. Otherwise, my prediction is going to look pretty fucking stupid. So, but I think Philly can get back to the Super Bowl, and I also think Philly can repeat. They signed all their offensive guys. Howie Roseman seems to be a wizard at finding these defensive players in the draft. I mean, look at Cooper DeJean and those guys. Like, you bring those guys in, and last year, like, if you remember, though, like last year, Cooper DeJean was a rookie. He picked Patrick Mahomes off in the Super Bowl for a pick 6. So Howie Roseman can find those guys. I don't like Nick Sirianni. I think he's an idiot, but he's a good head coach. And so you have I think Jalen Hurts is a top 10 quarterback. You have a top 10 quarterback. You have a top 10 wide receiver duo with A.J. Brown and Devontae
they
Smith.
kept them both. When it looked like one was gone, they did keep them both.
You got Saquon Barkley. So I think
Saquon Barkley at his peak, keep in mind.
So here's what I think you need. I think you need 5 things, and I'll run through them quick. I think you need 5 things to win a Super Bowl. You need a top head coach, which I think they got. You need a top quarterback, which I think they got. They got a top wide receiver duo, which they got. You need a top running back, which they got. And I think you need a top defensive coordinator, which they got, because they kept Vic Fangio this offseason when a lot of people thought maybe he wouldn't be back, this and that. They got a wizard and a GM for Howie Roseman, and I would say Philly probably has the best top 3 ownership in the NFL.
Yeah, their ownership's
is solid. Their ownership is very good. So for me, I think Philly's got all the things, and as much as I hate to say that, because the Philadelphia fans are gross fans, and anyone that knows Philadelphia knows that we like to call it Philadelphia on this show. And except for AK, shout out AK. But I think Philly can get there. I think Philly's got everything that they need. I think that they're loaded up to run again. I think that everyone keeps talking Saquon Barkley had 350 carries. That was not a regular 350 carries. That offensive line created fucking holes that me or you probably could have run for 1,000 yards behind that line.
But Saquon Barkley, I mean, watch him and Jalen Hurts in the gym.
Yeah.
They're both squatting 525 pounds, and Jalen Hurts at Alabama was kind of sucking.
Oh, he sucked.
And
he sucked.
Being Bama fans, we wanted him benched. And he moved on, and he worked, and he did what he had to, and he did it good.
And this is
he made an amazing Jalen Hurts out of himself.
This is a shout out also to young players. Listen to your coaches, because he listened to Nick Saban, and Nick Saban told him, this is where you should go. Because he wanted to go somewhere else, and I can't remember what it was. And Nick Saban told him, this is not a fit for you. Do not go here. This is where you want to go. And Jalen Hurts, being the humble dude that he is, listened, went to Oklahoma, and was a second-round pick, and I think he started his rookie year in the NFL?
I believe he did.
I believe he started the rookie year in the NFL.
Won that job over.
Yeah, and so young kids, if you guys listen to this, listen to your coaches. They are coaches usually for a reason, especially when you have all of the winning that Nick Saban has. When a coach like that tells you to do something, you shut up and you do what he tells you to do.
And you just keep working hard, and that's what Jalen Hurts did.
Yeah, so I think that they got everything that to go, at least to go back. I think they can repeat. I mean, like I said, if I had $1,000 today and you had to pick one Super Bowl team, I'm going to pick Philly.
I would bet that the Washington Commanders go farther this year in the win-loss record in the regular season, and then Philly in the playoffs. That's just my bet on it.
So here's the
thing.
thing.
It's potential that they meet in the playoffs.
So here's the thing I look at. If you're to go, like I said, I think Dallas wins that division, but again, Dallas probably just blows it in the first round. If you're to look at Philly, Washington side by side, I think Washington's got the better quarterback. I think Philly's got the better coach. Philly's got the better wide receivers. Philly's got the better running backs. Philly's got the better offensive line. And I think, and I still want to say Philly's got the better defense.
I don't think. I'm not. Jaden Daniels is probably a better quarterback all around. He's probably a more valuable asset to the team. But Jalen Hurts is smarter. He's wiser. He's got a few years in there, and
true too.
He can see things, read things a bit better.
So sorry, I should clarify that. I think most people think that. If you ask me for this year, if you needed one quarterback, Hurts or Daniels, I'm still going to take Jalen Hurts this year.
I take Daniels.
I take Jalen Hurts only because Jalen Hurts has proven that he can win. He's been to 2 Super Bowls against Patrick Mahomes, and he's outplayed Mahomes in both.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, even, you could say, well, the defense got you there. Okay, well, yeah, the defense did get Jalen Hurts there. But when Jalen Hurts got there, what did he do? He outperformed the guy that, remember when they were trying, the new GOAT, the new GOAT. Well, Jalen Hurts outperformed in both Super Bowls that he played in. Sure, he did lose the one, but for me, this year at least, and again, you know me, I'm a big sophomore slump guy, and everyone was saying that about C.J. Stroud last year, going to see C.J. Stroud. The same things they're saying about Jaden Daniels. C.J. Stroud, and if you play Dynasty football, trying to get C.J. Stroud was, you had to overpay by a criminal amount to get C.J. Stroud. The same thing as Jaden Daniels. So I need to see Jaden Daniels do it for a couple of years.
More than one rookie year.
Yeah, I want to see 2 or 3 years. And by the 3rd year, if he's still doing it, it's like, okay, he's legit. He's here to stay.
I think Washington has a better coach. You think Philly has a better coach? I think Washington has a better coach.
Well, Dan Quinn also is.
It's hard to go against a coach that just won a Super Bowl. You can't say, oh, he's not a good coach.
No. But for me, Dan Quinn is also the defensive coordinator that blew a 28-3 lead against the Patriots. They couldn't stop him for whatever reason.
That's the Patriots, though.
And for me, I just I worry about Dan Quinn. Because Dan Quinn has kind of gone the Dan Campbell route where we're just going to go for it, we're just going to go for it, we're just going to go for it, we're just going to go for it. And that does work until it doesn't work. And you're not Philly, you don't have the tush push, and they didn't ban the tush push this offseason.
No, not yet.
And so for me, honestly, I think when Philly gets to the playoffs, I think Philly turns it on. And I think the only reason I'm picking the Cowboys this year instead of Philly to win that division is because no one wins that division 2 years in a row. But like I've told everyone, if Philly wins that division this year, I would not be shocked. I would not be like, oh my God, they actually gave them. Yeah. But for me, I think that they can. So I think Philly can make it back. I think Philly can repeat. And you don't think that they're going to even make it back, eh?
No, I think Washington goes farther than them in the playoffs.
Wow.
So at the very last, Washington could be playing them for the NFC Championship.
You think a repeat maybe of the championship game then? Because that's what it was this year, right? Philly-Washington, so... Okay, guys, we have come to the end. So we are going to do our top 10 list here, our rundown of our top 10. And like I said earlier, it's going to be the top 10 records that me and my pops think will never be broken. So this can be across all pro sports. So it can be basketball, football, golf, whatever, like basketball, baseball, it doesn't matter. It can be across all sports. So these are records that me and my dad think that will never be broken in sports. So, Dad, you kick us off.
Number 10, Cal Ripken Jr., 2,632 consecutive games.
Yeah, not
a chance.
Not nowadays. Not with how soft people are nowadays with all the rest that these guys take and stuff like that.
Yeah, not a chance. I mean, in baseball, too, where you're playing every night and sometimes twice.
Yeah.
Your doubleheaders and that, and all that. That's it ain't gonna happen in football. Ain't gonna happen in hockey, and it's not gonna happen in basketball either. So yeah, Cal Ripken Jr.'s that's one that's in the books forever.
Yeah. All right, coming in at number 9, we got Ricky Henderson with 1,406 bases stolen. No one else has over 1,000. He was the first. I believe he was the first someone under 23 or 24 with 100 bases stolen in a season, and at 1,406 stolen bases. I mean, I need to see someone get to 1,000 before I even start worrying about that record. I think that's a record that will stand for when my kids have kids and their kids have kids and their kids have kids. I don't think you
I had
ever
the joy of
that.
watching Ricky as I grew up, and I mean, it was Mr. October into the playoffs and that, and every time Ricky Henderson hit a single. Well, let's just say he hit a double because he was stealing second base.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, number 8.
Yeah.
The Boston Celtics, 8 straight NBA titles from 59 to 66. And there's a few reasons that'll never be broken. Number one, it's just absolutely incredible. But number two, you have free agency now.
Yeah. The
And
free
you
agency.
can't, you put a core team like that together and you win a couple of championships. Guys are going to be getting offered a lot of money to go play somewhere else. And they're gonna go. They've got their championship or two. Now it's pay time.
Yeah.
And they're going to go. And you're never going to hold a championship team together for 8 years in any sport anymore.
Not nowadays. No, they would have to modify free agency or something.
Yeah.
They'd have to do it. So, all right, coming in at number 7 is Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point game. I think if I remember correctly, the closest is either 81 or 82. Kobe's got an 81-point game. He dropped it against the Raptors, actually, of course, of all teams. The Toronto Raptors, close to us, our Canadian team. Devin Booker does have an 80-point game. I don't know if he hit 82. So it's either Devin Booker with the Suns or Kobe has it at 81 is the second closest. Even with the way that they push scoring nowadays, with the way that these guys do load management and stuff like that, I think you'd have to play so many games and just hope that you catch a streak. The other thing, too, is like the defenders now, the way they play, like you're going against guys that look like LeBron on defense, and every single one looks like him. It's not, you don't got like the accountant coming to play after he just worked 8 hours, right? So I think Wilt's 100-point game, I don't think you ever see that get touched.
The next one is going to be a win streak, and it's going to be a women's sport. The Yukon women's basketball team had a 111-game win streak. Just think of that, 111-0. Outside of the Harlem Globetrotters, which we're not going to count as professional sports, no one's ever going to touch that record.
No, and I think they lost their 112th game on a buzzer beater, too.
Yeah.
All right, guys, so that was number 6. So coming in at number 5 is Jerry Rice's 22,895 receiving yards. I think the next closest is, I got it here, at Larry Fitzgerald at 17,492. Maybe with the extra game, and especially if they add another game, like if they add an 18-game regular season, I could see maybe Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson, one of those guys, maybe even CeeDee Lamb breaking it. But as it stands now, I mean, Jerry Rice played till he was, 40?
Yeah, these guys haven't shown their longevity yet.
Yeah.
They haven't shown
Yeah,
that
so
yet.
for me, at number 5, Jerry Rice's wide receiving yards.
Number 4, Jack Nicklaus's 18 major wins. Again, as a young boy growing up, I would watch Jack win and getting his majors and that. And then along came Tiger, who's only a few years younger than me. But along came Tiger. And it wasn't long for everyone goes, this guy's going to beat Nichols. Right?
Oh, yeah, I remember they talking about it.
Yeah, he's going to beat it. And he went on a tear, and he was on pace to do it. But then injuries and newer golfers coming up and sharper golfers coming up. There's always somebody better coming up the ladder.
Yeah.
And, when it comes to a major, there's a lot of pressure on those guys. And they're playing 40 other players. They're not just playing one-on-one with another team. They're playing 40-something players. So there's always somebody hot out there to beat you. And honestly, if Tiger couldn't do it, I don't see possibility of anybody doing it.
I think, too, with golf, man, those injuries, when those guys get back injuries and stuff like that it just torpedoes their career and stuff like that, right? So, all right, coming in at number 3, this is a shout-out to my sister. We have Martin Brodeurs' 125 shutout record. I think the next closest is Terry Sawchuk, and he
had 103.
He had 103, okay.
Which we thought would never be broken when we were young. Let me tell you, we never thought anybody would break that 103.
Yeah, but nowadays, too, I mean, I've talked with, present coworkers, ex-coworkers. I've talked to them all, guys that have played in the NHL, this and that. They don't make goalies the way that they used to. Brodeur used to play fucking 65, 70, 75, 80 games a year, and I just don't think that, based on the sheer volume that guys like Brodeur, Waugh, Ryan Miller, Luongo, Hendrik Lundqvist, all those guys that they used to play, I don't think you ever see that touch, because goalies don't play long enough now, and they just don't play enough to do it. So,
number 2, Tom Brady, TV12, 7 Super Bowl wins. That is going to be, and again, this is why I hate Patrick Mahomes. Don't want it to happen. That's something we think is untouchable. And again, in this day and age with free agency, Tom really did it with 3 different teams because the first 3 Super Bowls with the Patriots, and the last 3, there's only one player that played on one of the first and one of that, and that was Vince Wilfork, and he only played on one of each.
Big Vince.
It was a completely different team, and then he went to Tampa Bay and won another one.
Yeah.
And again, with the free agencies, that's just is so hard to keep a team together for 3 consecutive Super Bowls.
I think people forget too. Tom went 10 years without winning a Super Bowl.
In between.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and that's why the players weren't there. It wasn't that they'd all scramble their teams.
It's just
they had all retired and moved on.
It's the longevity of Brady, I think, is what made that. I don't see anyone else playing to 43 or whatever like that. So
he was in his 40s when he won his last one.
Yeah. So, all right, guys, coming in at number 1. Obviously, as Canadians, we love our other Canadians. Wayne Gretzky's 2,057 point total. The next closest guy is Jaromir Jagr. Shout out to Jagr, but he's more than 1,000 points away. Ovechkin just broke Gretzky's goal record for just goals. But point total, I think it still stands. Wayne Gretzky could get rid of all of his goals and only keep his assists, and he still has more points than anyone else in NHL history.
Yeah.
And so for me, I don't think you ever see that. I don't even think you ever see anyone come close. I don't know if you ever see anyone else even hit 1,300. I mean, if someone else hit 1,500, I would be shocked. You'd have to have such a long career. You have to play, and you have to try to keep a team together. You have to play with 1 or 2 guys that you always knew.
And it's longevity again. And Jagr himself had a very long NHL career too. Oh yeah, and he was still that far behind.
Because Jagr played, I think, for 7 or 8 different teams, something like that. So he bounced around. But yeah, so for number 1, we got Wayne Gretzky's 2,057 points. That's a record that.
It's a different game now too. It's a more defensive game, and
goalies
are bigger. The pads are bigger. The goalies are bigger.
Yeah,
the pads are a little bit bigger, and but Wayne Gretzky again, he would sit behind the net. That was called his office.
Yeah,
and it's just the way that he would set everybody else up.
That
would make him the greatest player ever.
Yeah. All right, guys. We have come to the end. So if you like this episode, give us a like and follow. You can also check us out on TikTok at The Top 10. When this show goes up, I am going to have a link in our bio for our Facebook page as well as our TikTok. I am working on getting our Instagram page back. For some reason that we don't have access to it right now. So right now we're only on TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook, but we will be back on Instagram. We will be posting the top 10 clips on all of them. And if you follow us on YouTube and TikTok, we'll also be posting shorts of the episodes and all that as well too. So have a good night, guys, and we will see you later this week.